stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back, get your lick back. If a nigga gon' do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Into the trends. See you, Lee, be the band.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Post Game Podcast. Well, this isn't really the show. This is just to break down some news. This is obviously not breaking news. This broke last night. But with all that said, the Detroit Pistons did not have a first-round pick. Their first-round pick that was lottery protected finally conveyed. This was a pick that was originally taken, was originally given to the New York Knicks. They would eventually trade the rights to that pick over to Minnesota as a part of the Karl Anthony Towns deal. And ultimately, the Pistons were left with 1 second-round pick. I believe it was the 39th pick of the draft this year. And we chose Chaz Lanier. Chaz Lanier is a movement shooter, off-guard player. He played 4 years at Northern Florida, and then he transferred. I think the COVID year gave him an extra year, so he transferred in his final year to the Tennessee Volunteers, where he had some pretty good success. He won a couple of awards. He won an award for being the best SEC transfer player. He won an award. This was a Jerry West Award as the best shooting guard in the nation. So he had a pretty good year. He averaged 18 points per game. He shot 43% from the field. He shot about 38% from three. But this guy's a sharpshooter. He finished with the most threes in Tennessee Nation for a single season. Obviously, Dalton Connect played there last year, and he hit a ton of threes. So this is not a feat to snub our nose at. This was he hit a lot of threes this year, and he's a tough shot maker. He's able to relocate without the ball to find himself a good shot. He's able to cut to the basket. He's 6'4". He's got a 6'9" wingspan. And I think that he's a player that has the ability to, be another scorer off the bench. The Pistons were sixth in bench scoring last year, so they had a very strong bench thanks to Malik Beasley, who ironically, Mr. Lanier has some comps to Malik Beasley as well. So a lot of people ask, does this mean that they're in danger of not bringing back a Malik Beasley? I don't believe so. I think more than likely it's going to mean the end to a guy like it makes Tim Hardaway more expendable. More so than I certainly don't think that Lanier is going to come in immediately and be able to take over the role as the number one scoring option off the bench. But I think that he can learn from him, and he could possibly be a predecessor down the lane as Beasley gets up in age. On the short term, I think that he's a decent replacement of Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway obviously started last year. He will move to the bench. Ivy will be in a starting lineup. So I think that Lanier can come in. I don't think will have a major, especially if you bring back Schroeder, if you bring back Beasley. I think that Lanier can slowly be worked into that role. I think that it may mean the end of a guy like Waters, who was traded along with Schroeder in that Golden State deal. I think that he could ultimately be a replacement to Fontecchio, who had a down year, who's going into the final year of his deal. Maybe that means that he is a casualty of a trade, to better strengthen our starting lineup. Who's to say? Maybe you bring in the Tennessee Volunteer and Lanier, and it eventually means the end of Tobias Harris, who's another Volunteer. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown. Of course, me and June are going to have a more extensive breakdown probably this weekend to kind of break down not only this pick, but everybody else that we brought in as well. We'll kind of talk about, obviously the summer league is coming up in the next week or so. So obviously that's your first kind of look to see at, some of the young players like Bobby Klintman, Chaz Lanier, Ron Holland. I'm not quite sure who's going to. I think Ron Holland should at least play 1 or 2 games, maybe. I don't know, in summer league, but yeah, certainly Derek Harper Jr. and some of the other young players that are still trying to make a name for themselves at the NBA level. So yeah, in conclusion, the Detroit Pistons drafting the second round Chaz Lanier, a movement shooter that plays well off the ball. He's a little bit undersized. He's 6'4" and 3/4 without shoes on, and but he has a 6'9" wingspan. So I think that and he tested pretty well off athletically. He had the third highest standing vertical, and there was a lane agility drill that he finished 5th in. So the athleticism there, I think that plays well into his longer arms, and we'll see what he can do. But I think that the Pistons did not address the floor spacing for. I don't know if they found anybody that they liked. I think that the consensus is that the Pistons did a good job with who they selected. But outside of Bobby Klintman, and obviously Tobias Harris is getting up there in age. That's something that we're still going to need to address to really be looked at as threats moving forward. So it's something to look for. It's something to pay attention to. And I would obviously the off season has just began, so we will keep you up to date on those things. So please tune into our YouTube at Bleachers and Speakers and our audio side of things at Post Game Podcast. It's your boy Foster. Shout him out.